Imagine a world where your every action, every thought, even your deepest secrets are not your own. Sounds terrifying, right? Today we're journeying into such a world, meticulously crafted by George Orwell in his seminal work, 1984. This dystopian novel, set in a totalitarian society, presents a chilling vision of a future where freedom is a myth and Big Brother is always watching. The narrative is divided into 3 intriguing parts, each offering us a deeper look into this unnerving world. But let's pose a provocative question here. What if your reality was controlled by a supreme entity? What if your thoughts, your freedoms, your very existence were all manipulated by an omnipresent force? How would you react? Would you fight or succumb to the overwhelming power? Dive with us into the chilling world of 1984 as we dissect the first part of this masterpiece. The society in 1984 is not just a creation of fiction, but a mirror to our fears. Welcome to the dystopian nightmare of George Orwell's 1984. A society conceived in the throes of the 20th century's most haunting anxieties, Orwell's vision is a chilling prophecy of a totalitarian regime. In 1984, we are introduced to the omnipresent surveillance of Big Brother, an entity that keeps the citizens in a constant state of fear and obedience. Big Brother's eyes are everywhere, watching, listening, and controlling. Orwell masterfully crafts a society where privacy is a myth, and the concept of alone time is a long-forgotten luxury. The surveillance is not merely physical, it extends to the minds of the citizens, controlling their thoughts, their beliefs, and their very identities. The society in 1984 is governed by the Party, a totalitarian regime that wields absolute power. It dictates every aspect of life, from work to leisure, from thought to language. The Party's control is so absolute that it even redefines reality, altering the past to suit its present needs. This manipulation of truth and information is a key tool in the Party's arsenal, used to maintain its grip on power and keep the citizens in perpetual ignorance. In this society, Orwell presents an alarming paradox. Freedom is slavery. The citizens are led to believe that their servitude to the Party is their liberation. They are taught to love Big Brother, to accept the Party's version of reality without question. This manipulation of truth and reality translates into a disturbing mantra. Ignorance is strength. The less the citizens know, the stronger the Party becomes. In the world of 1984, the society is a chilling reflection of our deepest fears. It presents a horrifying vision of a world where freedom is a falsehood, where truth is a malleable commodity, and where the individual is lost in the faceless mass. It is a society where the very essence of humanity is stripped away, leaving behind a hollow shell of existence. In the world of 1984, freedom is slavery, and ignorance is strength. Meet Winston Smith, the unlikely hero of this dystopian world. Winston is an intriguing character, a man of contradictions living in a world of absolutes. He works at the Ministry of Truth, a place that is anything but truthful. His job is to rewrite history, to mold the past into a shape that fits the Party's narrative, a task he performs with a disturbing level of skill. Winston's life is a paradox. On the outside, he's the perfect Party member, doing his duties without question. But inside, he's a rebel, a man who questions the very fabric of the society he lives in. His mind is a battlefield, torn between his public persona and his private thoughts. He's trapped in a world where even thinking is a crime, a world that has turned him into a thought criminal. But Winston is not content with just surviving. He yearns for something more, something real. He struggles with the constant surveillance, the incessant propaganda, the unending war. His spirit rebels against the crushing conformity of the Party. He seeks truth in a world full of lies, and love in a world devoid of it. Winston's rebellion begins subtly. A stolen glance, a forbidden diary, a secret love affair. These are the sparks that ignite the flame of dissent within him. He dares to dream of a world beyond the iron grip of the Party. He starts to question, to doubt, to think. And in doing so, he becomes a threat to the system. The Party seeks to control not just the actions of its citizens, but their thoughts as well. But Winston, our protagonist, begins to resist this control. He starts to see the cracks in the facade of the Party. He becomes a symbol of hope, of resistance, of rebellion. In a world where individuality is a crime, Winston dares to be different. He dares to be human. He is a beacon of hope in a world of darkness, a voice of dissent in a sea of conformity. Despite the odds, despite the danger, Winston chooses to fight. He chooses to dream. He chooses to resist. Winston, a cog in the machine, begins to dream of a revolution. Orwell's 1984 isn't just a story, it's a symbol of resistance. As we delve deeper into the first part of the book, the symbolism becomes more apparent, transforming the narrative into a complex web of metaphoric interpretations. Let's start with Big Brother. He isn't merely a character, he is the embodiment of the totalitarian regime. His omnipresence, highlighted through posters and telescreens, symbolizes the state's incessant surveillance, reminding us that privacy is a luxury in Oceania. Big Brother's face, always watching, serves as a stark reminder of the regime's power, control, and the citizens' lack of autonomy. The telescreens, too, are far more than mere objects. They represent the party's unblinking eye, constantly monitoring its citizens. These telescreens, broadcasting propaganda and scrutinizing every action, emphasize the party's total control over information and individuality. They are Orwell's way of showing us how technology can be used as a tool of oppression, manipulating minds and stripping away personal freedom. Then there's the concept of doublethink, a mental process that Orwell introduces to showcase the party's psychological manipulation. Doublethink is the acceptance of two contradictory beliefs simultaneously, a symbol of the citizens' conditioned acceptance of the party's distorted truth. Through doublethink, Orwell warns us of the dangers of an unquestioning society, where critical thinking is replaced by blind obedience. The symbolism within 1984 is not merely a literary device, it's a mirror Orwell holds up to society, reflecting the potential hazards of unchecked power and the erosion of personal liberties. It's a call to remain vigilant, to question authority and the reality it presents to us. These symbols, Big Brother, the telescreens, doublethink, they're not just elements of a dystopian world. They encapsulate Orwell's critique of totalitarian regimes and the potential dangers of complacency. They are Orwell's cautionary reminders of the value of freedom, truth, and individuality. These symbols force us to question our perception of freedom, truth, and reality. Orwell's 1984 is not just a story. It's a wake-up call, a call to resist, and a call to think. The world of a 1984 may be fiction, but its implications are eerily real. George Orwell's vision of a dystopian society in his magnum opus, 1984, may have been a product of his imagination, but it resonates with our society today in ways that can be quite unsettling. Let's delve into some of the unsettling similarities. First up is surveillance. In Orwell's 1984, the omnipresent Big Brother is always watching the citizens of Oceania. Fast forward to today, and we find ourselves in a world where our every move can be tracked, whether it's through our smartphones, our online behavior, or even our smart home devices. The reality is, we're under constant surveillance, much like the citizens of Oceania. Next up, the control over information. In Orwell's dystopia, the party controls all information, rewriting history to suit its narrative and eliminating any evidence of its wrongdoings. Today, we see echoes of this in the spread of fake news, internet censorship, and the control of information by powerful entities. The manipulation of information is a potent tool in the hands of those seeking to control public perception and opinion. Lastly, we come to the manipulation of truth. In 1984, the party's slogan, "War is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength," is a chilling example of how truth can be twisted and turned on its head. In our current era, we often see facts being distorted or ignored to suit political narratives, creating a world where what's true and what's not can become blurred. So, while 1984 may be a work of fiction, its themes hold up a mirror to our society today, forcing us to confront the uncomfortable realities of surveillance, control over information, and the manipulation of truth. It's a stark reminder of the power structures that can emerge when these elements go unchecked. In 1984, Orwell warns us of a future we must strive to avoid. And as we see the lines between Orwell's fiction and our reality blur, it's a warning we would do well to heed. So, where does this leave us? After diving into the dystopian society of 1984, meeting Winston Smith, and uncovering the symbols that George Orwell masterfully weaves into the narrative, we are left with a profound impression. This first part of the book sets the stage for a chilling exploration of power, control, and the human spirit. It forces us to question the nature of truth, the manipulation of information, and the impact of surveillance on individual freedom. The relevance of 1984 is undeniable. Its themes resonate in our world today as we grapple with issues of privacy, misinformation, and state control. Orwell's portrayal of a society where freedom is a distant memory serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of absolute power. This is why 1984 remains a must-read, a timeless classic that continues to challenge and provoke thought. Remember, 1984 is not just a book, it's a cautionary tale for us all. Until next time, keep questioning your reality.